Is there any story more incredible than selling 260 million records? Yet most people have no idea what happened to Cliff Richard. Think about it. We all know what happened to Elvis. The king died young and became a legend. We know about the Beatles. They broke up and became music history. But Cliff Richard, the guy who sold more records than most 60 stars, most people just forgot about him.
Used to think that life was sweet.
While other 60 stars disappeared or died, this 84-year-old is still amazing crowds, still doing concerts, still worth $100 million. He's outlived almost every rock star in history. He beat scandals, beat changing trends, beat entire generations of new music.
I've had nothing but bad luck.
But here's what nobody tells you about the boy from India who took over Britain. Behind those 260 million records is a survival story like no other in music. 4 secrets that transformed a refugee child into one of the most enduring icons in entertainment. Want to know the first secret? It starts with his name. Because Cliff Richard isn't real, it's completely made up. Meet Harry Roger Webb. Born in Lucknow, India, in 1940, when Britain still controlled that part of the world. His dad worked for the Indian Railways. His mom took care of their small family. When India became independent in 1947, everything changed overnight. The Webb family weren't just moving, they were running. Things got tense for British families after independence. In 1948, 8-year-old Harry landed in England with just a suitcase and an Indian accent that made him stick out like a sore thumb. Picture being that kid, foreign accent, strange memories. Trying to fit into post-war Britain where everyone was already struggling, Harry could have disappeared like thousands of other immigrant kids. But then he found something that changed everything. Music.
Come on, pretty baby, let's move it and groove it.
By 17, Harry Webb was playing in London bands. But he knew Harry Webb wouldn't work for rock and roll. This was 1957. Britain was dying for its own Elvis. American rock stars owned the charts. British musicians looked like weak copies, so Harry made a genius move, Cliff, because it sounded like a rock wall, tough and strong. Richard, a shout out to Little Richard, the American legend he loved. Not Harry Webb, the immigrant kid, but Cliff Richard, the British rock star. The plan worked. In 1958, riding on a London bus, Cliff wrote down a song in just 10 minutes. That song was Move It, one of the first British rock songs that could go head-to-head with American rock.
And I just don't know what's going to replace it.
But here's what made Cliff different from every other wannabe rock star. Crazy preparation. While other singers hoped for luck or relied on natural talent, Cliff practiced 12 hours a day. Voice exercises, dance moves, facial expressions. Every single thing planned for maximum impact. John Lennon later said before Cliff and the Shadows, Britain had nothing worth hearing. That's not just nice words, that's a Beatle admitting Cliff opened the door for everything that came after. Move It hit number 2 on the UK charts in October. Suddenly, Britain had its first real rock star. But Cliff was already planning his next move. He figured out something most musicians never learn. Success isn't about one hit song. It's about building a system that creates hit after hit. That system would make him incredibly rich and would either build his legacy or test his vision. If you remember hearing Move It on the radio during those early British rock days, drop a guitar emoji below. Let's see how many of you were there when Britain finally got its own Elvis. Now, here's where Cliff made a decision that would change everything about how musicians do business. 1960 was make or break time for Cliff Richard. He was 20 years old, had several hit songs, and faced the biggest choice of his life. Every manager, every record company boss, every music industry expert told him the same thing. Go solo, keep all the money, become the British Elvis. Cliff did the exact opposite. In a move that shocked the music world, he offered his backing band, The Shadows, equal partnership, 50-50 split on concert money, record sales, touring profits. everything.
Talking, sleeping, walking, living dog.
This partnership choice made him different from other solo stars, helping him become a chart-topping act by 25. But here's how it actually worked, and why it was such a bold risk. The Shadows weren't just backup musicians. They were Hank Marvin, Bruce Welch, Jet Harris, and Tony Meehan, talented guys who could have started their own successful band. By offering them equal shares, Cliff wasn't just being nice, he was being smart. While other musicians fought over money and credit, Cliff built a team. The Shadows made their own instrumental hits, while backing Cliff's singing. Apache, FBI, Wonderful Land, these became classics on their own. It was lifting each other up instead of competing. This wasn't just about music. Cliff understood something most artists completely missed: taking care of fans. In 1960, he started the Cliff Richard International Fan Club. Within 2 years, it had 50,000 paying members across Britain and Europe. Every month, they got newsletters with personal stories and updates, not just ads, real exclusive stuff, behind-the-scenes photos, personal messages about his thoughts on music, his travels, his faith. This was customer service decades before companies figured it out.
I got a roving eye, and that is why
The plan worked perfectly. His TV appearances on Oh Boy brought in 5 million viewers every week. That's bigger than most modern streaming shows. In a country with half today's population, when Cliff announced a London Palladium concert in 1960, 10,000 tickets sold out in under 1 hour. Between 1959 and 1962, this team approach delivered 5 straight #1 hits. Living Doll stayed at the top for 6 weeks. Travelin' Light owned the Christmas charts. Please Don't Tease became everyone's summer song. The Young Ones launched his movie career. The Next Time proved he could change his sound. By 25, Cliff wasn't just successful, he was running a complete entertainment company. Records, movies, television, merchandise, fan clubs. The partnership with the Shadows had created something never seen before in British entertainment. A business that could last. But lasting doesn't matter when your whole industry gets flipped upside down. And in 1963, 4 guys from Liverpool were about to change everything. Did your parents ever mention seeing Cliff during those early golden years? Share their memories in the comments. I love hearing how his music became part of family histories. But then came the moment that killed most careers from his era. The Beatles arrived, and suddenly everyone had to figure out how to survive. February 1963. The Beatles dropped Please Please Me. Within months, they'd taken over not just Britain but the whole world. What happened next was like watching the music industry crash and burn. Big stars vanished almost overnight. Traditional pop singers couldn't get their records played. Even successful rock acts struggled to get radio time. The British music scene got completely turned upside down, and most careers didn't make it.
tomorrow.
Elvis the King himself shifted focus to Hollywood movies. Many British acts from Cliff's era just faded away, unable to compete with the Beatles' craze. But Cliff did something different, something that saved his career and eventually made him even richer. He refused to copy the Beatles. Instead of trying to sound like them, he went his own way, totally different from the Liverpool sound. While everyone else chased the Fab Four's style, Cliff doubled down on being himself. He jumped into family entertainment with movies like Summer Holiday and Wonderful Life. These weren't just films, they were cultural events that brought in audiences the Beatles couldn't reach. He took over television with variety shows and specials. He also worked on his stage presence, turning concerts into big theatrical shows. In 1966, something happened that would define Cliff's next chapter forever. A meeting with American preacher Billy Graham sparked a personal faith journey that many predicted would end his pop music career. Music industry people said it would kill his career. They were dead wrong.
When I tell everyone that you're in love with me.
Cliff's faith journey wasn't career suicide. It was brilliant market positioning. He evolved step by step, rock to pop to inspirational music, to Christmas classics. Each change brought new audiences without losing the old ones. In 1968, he represented Britain at the Eurovision Song Contest. With Congratulations, he came in second, losing by just 1 point to Spain. But he gained something way more valuable: 10 million European viewers who'd never heard of him before. New countries, new markets, same authentic Cliff Richard. America was the ultimate challenge. The Beatles had conquered it. The Rolling Stones owned it. British invasion bands flooded American radio. How could a clean-cut Christian pop star from the pre-Beatles era possibly succeed there? Cliff was patient and smart. He turned down early Hollywood recording contracts that would have given American producers control over his music. Instead, he waited for the right moment, the right song, the right approach. Devil Woman hit number 6 on the Billboard Hot 100. Finally, after almost 2 decades, Cliff had cracked America. We Don't Talk Anymore reached number 7 in 1979, proving it wasn't a fluke. These weren't just chart positions. They proved his survival plan worked. While others tried to copy current trends, Cliff had built something that would last, a real musical style that could adapt to any musical climate. But his smartest move was finding new audiences and building a financial empire that most musicians never even think about. While most rock stars spent money as fast as they made it on cars, houses, and crazy lifestyles, Cliff Richard was quietly building a financial empire that would make him one of the richest entertainers in British history. It started in the 1970s with a decision that seemed purely about art, but was actually brilliant money management. Cliff taught himself studio recording techniques, not just singing, the technical stuff, sound engineering, mixing, production management.
Now it comes to letting go.
This knowledge cut his production costs by 30% compared to other artists. While competitors paid premium rates for studio time and professional engineers, Cliff could handle much of the work himself. Lower costs meant higher profit margins on every album. In 2000, he made an investment that looked like a lifestyle choice, but was actually financial genius. Buying a recording studio in Barbados, beautiful location, yes, but also a smart move that cut his recording expenses while boosting his creative output. The Caribbean location offered extra advantages: strategic location for creative inspiration, and a unique selling point for other artists who wanted to record in paradise. But here's the secret that might surprise you most about Cliff Richard's wealth. Between 2000 and 2024, he quietly supported music charities and young artists, with minimal publicity for his generosity.
Gonna get you from behind.
No big press campaigns announcing his donations. No celebrity photo ops with grateful students. Just consistent funding for the next generation of British musicians, because he remembered being that immigrant kid who needed opportunities, while other artists chased hit singles that provided quick bursts of income. Cliff really focused on complete albums. Over 100 studio albums created steady revenue streams that continue making money decades later. This approach made him the 3rd top-selling solo artist in UK history, after Elton John. At 84, he's still using cutting-edge methods. AI voice enhancement technology helps maintain his vocal power for live shows. TikTok collaborations with young influencers have generated over 2 million views, introducing his music to audiences 70 years younger than him. All his different companies are now worth $100 million, built through smart putting money back into his business, property holdings, and consistent long-term planning that most entertainers never consider. But here's the final revelation about what happened to Cliff Richard, and it's the most surprising part of his whole story. So whatever happened to Cliff Richard, here's the truth that will change how you think about aging, passion, and the possibility of reinventing yourself at any stage of life. He didn't retire, he didn't fade away, he didn't become a nostalgia act, trading on past glories. At 84 years old, Cliff Richard is still creating, still innovating, still surprising everyone who thought they knew his story. Right now, in 2025, he's in the middle of his Can't Stop Me Now tour, tickets selling fast across the UK, venues packed with fans from multiple generations, singing along to timeless hits.
Oh, my darling, can't you see?
His daily routine would exhaust performers half his age. Vocal coaching via Zoom 3 times a week using the same techniques he's refined since 1958. Daily yoga sessions maintaining the physical stamina for 2-hour concerts. A strict low-sugar diet supporting the energy levels needed for extensive touring. Remember that BBC scandal from 2014 that dominated headlines and nearly destroyed his reputation? Cliff fought back through the legal system, won his case in 2018, and came back stronger than before. The experience taught him resilience he didn't know he had. He hosts virtual meet and greets with over 10,000 fans worldwide. Personally reads every social media comment. Despite his $100 million net worth, he lives simply in Barbados, focused on what has always mattered most, the music itself. His memoir, A Head Full of Music, released in 2024, became an international bestseller. But the most beautiful part of Cliff's story is this: he's still creating. That daily diary habit he started in the 1980s recently inspired recent performances like Young Ones Forever 2024. At 84, Cliff Richard shows us something amazing about reinvention. It's not about changing who you are, it's about becoming more yourself with each passing year. His 260 million record journey shows that with real passion, smart adaptation, and staying true to yourself, there's absolutely no expiration date on dreams. What's your favorite Cliff Richard memory? Was it Move It introducing you to British rock and roll summer holiday, bringing joy to a family movie night, or congratulations representing Britain's hopes at Eurovision? If you enjoyed discovering what really happened to this music legend who sold 260 million records and built a $100 million empire, subscribe for more Whatever Happened To stories about the cultural icons who shaped our world. Share your Cliff memories in the comments below. I read every single one and genuinely love hearing how his music became part of your family's soundtrack. Next week we're exploring whatever happened to a British icon who redefined pop music forever and whose legacy still inspires today.